ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, we're the heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for some breakfast bankroll with the one and only Mr. Adam Trigger here live today. Big day today. Yes, it's the Four Nations tournament. That's at 8 o'clock though, guys, so we got plenty of time to talk hoops. Headliner: is it time to wave the NCAA Cooper flag and announce Duke national champs? Of course, that's a little pun on words there, but we'll have some fun here with Adam today. And then we're going to talk two games today. I know for most people won't be the initial games you'd be looking to watch, but, you know, me and Adam have some great talks here on Thursday, and we'll be doing a lot more of them as we turn the page and get closer to March Conference Championships and, of course, March Madness there. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors in all, and the East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. WagerWire, head on over to Google Play, download that app. It is free. I promise you, Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber, Holly, Jay Berry, Matt, the list is endless. Come on board. I guarantee you we'll take good care of you. And last but never least, AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Jump on over to Facebook, introduce yourself to Terry Smith, and then head on over to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wines. He's the best in the business, okay? And his customer service is 10 times 1,000 better than Omaha, Butcher Block, etc., etc., etc. Tell him JD from ECSI sent him. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Adam Trigger.
Jeff, what's going on? Listen, it's February 20th now. Like, these are the teams we're talking about on Thursday when all the mid-majors are playing are the teams everyone's going to learn about in March, right? So we got to teach you about them now so you're ahead of the curve, so you know about these teams when they start beating the big boys first weekend of the NCAA tournament, which will undoubtedly happen. It happens every year.
Well, there's no doubt the George Masons of the world, the Cinderellas, you know, they bombed through the first weekend. Now you're in the Sweet 16. You win again, you're in the Elite 8. And next thing you know, Presto Bango, they're talking one win away from the Final Four. And then the light bulb's going to go on. They're going to go, oh, shit. Adam and Jeff were talking about this back in November and December.
Yeah, it never fails. Like, every year it looks like the top is stacked and one of these teams sneaks through, like you're saying. Sweet 16, Elite 8 happens every year.
I got to add this. I don't think you and I have talked about this, and shame on me if not. I know I've reached out to a couple of the local guys, the Julian Edlows, the CT Bets, etc. Providence is hosting the first weekend. The last 2 times I was here, I'm, sitting right behind the Wichita State band. I saw Yale beat a juggernaut called Baylor. I know you probably got something a lot closer. Is that anything that's going to interest you come the first weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I have so my plan is to request credentials and see if I get approved for Providence and Cleveland because they're about equidistant for me. So Providence about 4.5 hours, Cleveland about 5 hours. So I'll see, like I'll try probably to do the Saturday or the Sunday. I like that day better. I don't want to be away from the TV setup on Thursday and Friday, Jeff. As you know, there's too much going on. So whenever I try to go to the NCAA tournament, I always target the round of 32. And listen, like this is like a life hack right here, Jeff. The round of 32 tickets tend to be a lot easier to get. And they also tend to be cheaper, especially if you have a big time fan base that gets knocked out in the first round. So if you're at a region where, let's say, a UConn gets bounced on Thursday or Friday, all of a sudden a lot of those tickets go up for sale, and you sometimes you can get them. I think when they were out in Buffalo a couple years ago, I ended up getting like unreal seats for like very cheap on that second day where you get the doubleheader. It's the 2 games, and then you're away from the TV less. And if you get really lucky, Jeff, your region gets that noon, 2 o'clock start, and then all the other games are later, so you don't miss anything. So that's how I always target it. I like to go that second day.
The first time we were in Providence for this, I'm going to raise some eyebrows. The mighty Georgetown Hoyas lost to Ohio, and St. Mary's with the Sandman not won just on Thursday, they won on Saturday too. So I'm going way, way back there before the Wichita State Shockers. That team was absolutely loaded 4 years later. That was one of their best teams, and they won opening round, and then they got behind by 24 to a great Miami team, came all the way back, took the lead, but ran out of gas. So we're here to talk some what's going on now. And you know, after what has gone on, after this week, last week, a couple weeks prior, how some of the mighty have fallen. And I saw a tweet. I wanted to pick your brain here, Adam. Baylor, Kansas, Gonzaga, and UConn pulled another one out of their ass the other day against Nova. Of those 4, who goes the furthest in the tournament right now?
Gonzaga. No question. In my opinion, no question. Like, so I believe you said Baylor, Kansas, UConn, Gonzaga. Like, yes. There's a clear Gonzaga is, in my opinion, far and away better than the other 3 right now. Like, I think Kansas has real issues. They don't defend the 3-point line. Baylor's had issues since the beginning of the season, in my opinion. They have some really good offensive players, and they're the type of team that if they get hot, they can be pretty dangerous. Like, I still think they're a very good offensive team, but defensively, not great. Rotation isn't very deep. I don't see them doing much in March. And then UConn, you know what I think is going to be the downfall for UConn, Jeff, is the target on their back once tournament time starts. Like, they're not sneaking up on anyone. That's going to be everyone's going to want to knock them out. So it's not even that UConn can't potentially play their way through the first weekend. It's just that's to me the biggest the thing with them. It's that they are going to have so much pressure on them to live up to what they've done the last 2 years. That's going to be tough to handle. That being said, like I've told you on this show before, I don't like to count Hurley and that coaching staff out. I still think it's very possible UConn is better in 3 weeks than they are today. I think there's room for improvement there. But the one team in that group that you just mentioned, like Gonzaga, is a legitimate contender still, in my opinion. I know they've had their flaws, but in my opinion, that's the type of team that really could make a run. That being said, I don't know that I would invest on any of those 4 teams. Like I think there's better ways to invest in the national championship market right now. It wouldn't be any of those 4 teams.
And we've been talking all year, Adam, the gauntlet in the NCs and the SEC. Are they going to get 12, 13, 14 teams in here? And it's almost like one of these. It's been such a gauntlet. Like, look at Alabama get steamrolled at home by Auburn, and then they go on the road. A team no one is talking about, this Missouri team that is as dangerous as hell. Boat races and them again there. Do you think because of the gauntlet there that the wear and tear. I know once the tournament cuts, the brackets on Sunday and you're filling them out, everyone's just checking the SEC to go, 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 go. You know how it works. They're the ones with the most teams. They're going to be the ones with the most losses. But is it fair to say that the conference and the regular schedule could catch up to them come March?
That, and then like the other thing, I think if you've learned anything from past years, it's to try, you really don't want to have a conference bias when it comes to the NCAA tournament, filling out your bracket, betting certain teams. Like we've seen this already, right? Like go back a couple of years ago, the Big Ten had a season similar to this for the SEC, where like the top 8 teams were like the top 20, 8 of the teams were in the top 20 nationally, right? Like, and the Big Ten didn't have like this banner conference tournament that year. It works the other way around. If you remember, Jeff, last year, people were down on the ACC. The ACC's bad this year. It was also bad last year. And you had Duke, Clemson, NC State, all there right at the end. So you go back to the 21 season that was in the bubble. The Pac-12 was like historically bad that year. And Oregon State and USC were both in the Elite Eight. I think maybe even Oregon made a run that year too. So you got to try to not have a conference bias. And if the bookmakers are going to have a bias in the way they price things out, you got to be willing to go against some of those teams. That's sort of where, that's kind of what I think is going to happen here, Jeff. I think come March, come the NCAA tournament, there's going to be a big time premium you have to pay to back SEC teams. And I think there's going to be good reason to probably go against it in spots.
Before we get into today's games there, you know, it's funny that everyone faded the Pac-12. And I remember, you know, the 10-30 game always was USC and Providence. And Providence 1.5 point favorites. It would come down to the buzzer, and USC made a nice run, as you said, a few years ago. I've had my eyes on this UCLA team, and Cronin cracked the whip. He blamed the team. It was soft. They got on a great run, but absolutely fumbled the bag earlier this week, blowing a huge lead and getting shocked at home against Minnesota, Adam.
Yeah, I have a take here. So, like, I was talking on a show yesterday, and Big Ten just in general came up, and someone made a case for Maryland, and I would kind of be anti Maryland, and my counter was like, so I just kind of pulled up KenPom and I looked and I said, okay, like which of these Big Ten teams would you rather invest in right now? Maryland, Ohio State, Illinois, UCLA, right? They're all kind of in the same, like, you know, they're in like the same group of 10, 15 in KenPom. For me, it would be UCLA. Like I look at that team, the way they're able to play defense, the transition offense that they have, like Mick Cronin is a head coach who knows how to win games, knows how to get through to his team. I am okay with that. Like, I think UCLA is a team that could potentially be better off it. So right now, I think KenPom has them 46th nationally in offensive efficiency. And that's a team that I feel has lacked an offensive identity for a lot of the year. So it's like, because they've got some guys that can put the ball in the hoop. To me, they just weren't running anything of note for like the first couple months of the season. I think the offenses look better. I think if you go back to, I want to say it was probably the Rutgers game or right around there when they maybe the game after that, when they finally got over the hump and kind of got off that little losing streak, the offenses looked much, much better. And you look at where they're rated. So it's all relative, right, Jeff? We're just talking about value. Like, they're going to be rated similar to like an Ohio State and an Illinois. Illinois is soft. Like that's a team I want no part of. I was at the Illinois Rutgers game. They got punched in the mouth in that game by Rutgers, never really recovered, ended up losing outright. Ohio State has their issues at times. So yeah, like I'm with you. I kind of think UCLA might be one where you could buy and get good bang for your buck, you know, just from this point forward.
Last question. It's been a week since we've done a show together. And as I said in the intro, I think as we get closer to March, I'm going to bring you on a couple times, hopefully a week with your schedule to get some more talks as we get closer to conference play and stuff. What'd your eyes see from last Thursday night up until through and last night?
Man, it's I have a hard time thinking back to last Thursday. There's been so many games have gone off since then. Obviously, I'll tell you one thing. Kind of my eyes were correct. Thinking Kansas wasn't any good. I mean, that was one kind of kicking myself. I didn't bet BYU on Monday night, even though I talked about it all day on like every media spot I did. Because of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, coming off a loss, like Bill Self, he's going to figure it out. Kansas as an underdog. And sure enough, they got run out for one of the worst losses in the history of their program. And that was kind of like, if you've watched Kansas play at all this year, like they're just not an elite team. Like they're still good. They're not elite. I almost think, sadly, Jeff, I almost think UConn, you could kind of, start to throw in that category as well. You just watch them and it's like, to me, they didn't have the X factor for a while. McNeely had that great game against Creighton, but I'm starting to watch them and think, maybe this is just what they are this year, and it is what it is. Let's see what Missouri really impressed me last night. That was awesome. Like that's a team that continues to just play their way up the ladder. I mean, they looked really good. I'm becoming more and more impressed with them as the season goes on. And then I'll go one more. I've talked about this on every show this week, so I got to get it out on here. I think you should have St. John's in your portfolio to win the national championship. I actually think you brought this up a couple weeks ago. I know we've kind of touched on it on this show. It was like over 40-1. The odds are starting to come down a little bit, but still, if you can get 40-1 on St. John's to win the national championship, there's so much upside there. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. Last night, they didn't have RJ Luis. Doesn't matter. They just roll anyway. Like the defense is so good. They never take a possession off. And I think there's upside with their offense. Right now, KenPom has them 76th. Last year, they finished 18th, but they really made strides offensively from mid-February until that game against UConn that they really played good enough to win. And St. John's played good enough to win in the Big East tournament against UConn last year. They just ran into a generational UConn Huskies team. If they win that game, they're probably in the NCAA tournament. And who knows what could have happened from that point forward. But I really like the St. John's team. And I think at the price, that's as good of a bet as you can make right now to win the national championship.
A couple of weeks ago, we gave them out 47-1 to cut the nets down. But the real cherry on top was 9 or 10-1, depending where you shopped, to get to the Final Four, which I think
that's crazy. Even 40-1. This morning it was still 40-1 places. They all they do is go out and win. Why I don't understand why that's not shorter. But and then of course you look at a team like UConn who's still way too short, right? Like I looked the other day, I think maybe like 20-1 still for UConn. I would need like 50-1 to want to get involved with UConn at this point. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think the Johnnies actually win the Big East tournament as well. Madison Square Garden. I think Ricky P, this is his year. I think they win the Big East tournament. They get a real nice seed. And then I think they're going to definitely be a tough out there. 2 games are going to break down. Townson, Elon. Elon overnight opened up -1. Now +1.5 with a 134.5. And if I do my due diligence here, KenPom has Elon 67-65.
Yeah, so this is an interesting game. I'm hoping that Townson continues to get bet. So I'm going to set this up by just really quickly pointing out that Elon is likely still without Nick Dorn, who is their leading scorer. And I'm hoping that as the day goes on, people realize that, and the market continues to bet this toward Townson, which, Jeff, makes a lot of sense since Townson comes into play 13-1 in the Coastal Athletic Association this year. So Townson, 13-1, they're running away with the league right now. And I'm really hoping that they continue to bet Townson here, because there is a point where I would come in and play Elon even without Nick Dorn, who, mind you, has been out for 2 games. So Elon had a really nice win over the weekend against UNC Wilmington. Dorn was out for that game. The reason I like Elon in this matchup so much is that Townson is almost like Texas A&M light in the way they play, right? They don't shoot the ball well. They don't score at a crazy rate in terms of like conversion percentage, but they crash the glass and they will just second chance points you to death. And then they just defend their tails off. So, you want to talk about just, Towson defensively, they're basically a top 100 defensive team nationally, one of the best defensive teams in this conference. That's going to be tough to do against Elon because Elon is an elite rebounding team. And the reason that Elon is so much better this year defensively and rebounding the basketball is they went to Division II and got a 7'4". He's 7'4", Jeff. Not even a 7-footer. We're doing him a disservice if we call him a 7-footer. 7'4" center named Matthew Van Komen, who's a phenomenal rebounder and a great rim defender. And what it's essentially allowed Elon to do is play this matchup zone where they can really sort of press the opponent because they don't need to worry about the rim. Because if someone beats them backdoor, this tower turns around and just swats the ball down, and then he rebounds it. It's been awesome to watch, and it's really improved Elon last year to this year. Their defense is much better, and they're an elite rebounding team. And those are the two things that you have to do well to have success against Towson. So if Dorn was in, this would be a no-brainer. Elon would be a max bet for me, Jeff. The fact that he's out makes it tough because he is the most talented offensive player on that team right now. With that being said, if Towson continues to take money and suddenly you're getting key numbers like 2.5 or even 3, then I think you just have to take the chance with Elon because they still have enough. Like they still have enough talent on this team. The Simpkins twins, Sam Sherry down low, like they have scores, and the Simpkins brothers are the two better defenders. So Dorn being out doesn't really hurt Elon as much defensively. He really hurts them on the offensive end. But I think they have enough where if you were going to give me +3 for a home game or at home with Elon here, +2.5, +3, I would have to jump in. It's a shame Dorn is hurt because it ruins like a spot I've had circled for a long time. But again, everything has a price, Jeff. I think 2.5 or 3, I'd have to be jumping in with Elon here.
That overnight flip, it probably under the assumption from quote unquote the sharp guys that probably they're trying to get ahead of it, assuming he's not going to play, correct?
Yep, and that's the thing. Like that's the whole handicap here. I don't think he's going to play. 6 days ago, he was in a walking boot, and they had said on the broadcast that he's out indefinitely. I would be very, very surprised if he's playing here. And so what I'm going to do is kind of wait. I hope it gets picked up as the course of the day. Oh, Dorn is out. Let's bet Towson. And I'm saying like this is a really bad matchup for Towson because they can go very cold offensively. And you just look at the shooting, look at the offensive splits for this Towson team. They're not good. And if you're not getting second chance points and Elon's able to sort of take away the paint, force them out to try to hit jump shots, that is the kiss of death for Towson. And no one in this conference has really been able to do it. This is not a great conference. Go look at Towson's non-conference record. They struggled in the non-conference. And it's because they were up against teams that could really, defend. This conference just doesn't have many of those teams. And that's why they're 13-1 and have just run through the league to this point. But tonight they run into an Elon team that can do that. And it's obviously the big home spot for them. So like I said, I'm probably going to get to if this gets to 2.5 or 3 for Elon, I'm going to have to play back against the Steam and take my chances with the Phoenix.
Second game, Idaho, Northern Arizona. Overnight, Northern Arizona -3.5. Some money came in on the potatoes, no pun intended there. Idaho down to 2.5 with a 148. Ken Palm has Northern Arizona 77-74 victors.
Yep, so that's the Vandals, but the Potatoes would be a good nickname too, as well. And that's not at all surprising to me. These two teams played about 3 weeks ago, and Idaho took a ton of money in that game too. That line moved like 5 points. It toward Idaho, and they got blown out. They were beat handily. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the sharp guys remembered that and probably had it circled like, okay, well, we'll play Idaho in the reverse meeting, especially now that they're an underdog. This is another one where if this continues to get bet down, I'm going to want to play back against this move because I'm more of a believer in Northern Arizona than like what they've done to this point. I think you and I have kind of talked about this team a couple of times. They always pop up on Thursdays. I remember one week we were head to head, and you got the best of me on a last second three with Weber State. And Northern Arizona found ways to lose that game after coming back from down 20. And that's my biggest criticism with Northern Arizona this year. They're poorly coached and they find ways to lose. And it's a shame because if they had a little bit better execution, they'd be right up near the top of this league. And that's why I think there's some value in playing on them going forward, especially against the bottom teams in this league and especially on their home floor. So you get both of those tonight. You've got Northern Arizona at home, where I'd prefer to have them. And you've got, a Idaho team that's a bottom team in this league. Idaho defensively, 331st per Evan Maya. I'm sure KenPom has them out there as well. And then you've also got, and when you look at that, Idaho doesn't get stops. This Northern Arizona team can score. That's what they do best. Trent McLaughlin is awesome, averages over 20 points per game. Carson Tout is an elite rebounder. They rebound. They should be so much better than they are. So this is kind of a team I'm buying at this point. And if the market's going to continue to push this down, there will be a spot where I've just got to jump in with Northern Arizona. I actually think 2.5 is very fair. I would lay the 2.5, and this is one I'll have my eye on all day and very possibly get to the window with.
Scroll has been going the whole time, Adam. Everyone knows on X to follow you at Adam Trigger WT, the website wt.buzz/AT, of course, at Wager Talk. But what we always wrap up here on this segment is to tell them, A, where they can find you, your schedule for your shows today, and, of course, what you have at Wager Talk.
Yeah, so I've got a best bet up at Wager Talk right now. The two I talked about could very well be bets over the course of the day. So give Elon and Northern Arizona a look. And you can find me at Wager Talk, always on Twitter at Adam Trigger WT. If you've ever got a question about a game, just shoot me a DM. I answer all of them or as many as I can in timely fashion. And I'd love to do more than one spot a week as we get to March. There's a lot to talk about and a lot of money to be made betting conference tournaments and some of these smaller leagues. So look forward to being back soon.
Adam, that's a 100% fact here. It's February 20th, so we will be seeing a lot more of you. Best of luck today, the rest of the weekend, and we'll catch up soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Take care. Adam Trigger, go follow him at Adam Trigger WT. Quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Great way to start the day. Adam Trigger. Go follow him, of course, at Adam Trigger WT on X. Go find all his work at Wager Talk. ECSI VIPs last night. A night for the ages. 5-0 clean sweep. And 4 of them, first half team totals over. We think we might have cracked Da Vinci's code again. We had an amazing December, plus 29 units. That's one game each, meaning every game's the same here. One play, one unit here. We were on team totals in the month of December. The market really shrunk. That made it a win-lose in January. We've caught our sea legs in February. We had a huge Super Bowl with the Eagles exacta beating Kansas City at 17-1 pre-flop of the tournament, and we had Jalen Hurts at 15-1 pre-flop to win the MVP. If you're not following us, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Follow us, subscribe. It's free. Come on back to EC Sports Invest on Twitter. Follow us, subscribe. It's free. Turn on your notifications. Never miss a show. We're in our 10th year here of public service. January 1st, 2015, we started. I had a lot more here, and it wasn't great. But we're here to educate. We saved the entertainment for that four-letter word, ESPN, Fox, and all those other clowns on social media here. We're hoping to duplicate, which will never happen again. We had the most amazing run in 2017 in the conference championship and March Madness tournament, 30-2 run. Just reading the market. That's what we do. We read the market. We follow over 50 sports books from around the world. We have great inside information in Vegas, good friends and colleagues, Mr. Benson at Circa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com, top right corner is plans and pricings. You scroll all the way down, you're going to see two prices there. $375 a month retail. That's the same price that we charged back on January 1st, 2015. And we have a new new deal here, which we call is to welcome to the family ECSI VIP. It's $3 a day. Go look at your couch in your living room. Go check your ashtray in your car. You got $3 and change there. It's a small Dunkin' Donuts or small Starbucks coffee. Every play, every release, every future, sent to your cell phone via text and emailed daily. So what we're doing there, again, if you want to dip your toes and you want to see what we're all about, we got clients globally that have been with us for 8, 9, some 10 years, because at the end of the day, the week, the month, the year, we're in the green, but it's more of an educational tool as well. But if you see that 375 there and you're really a long time, this is serious business for you. Check that box, sign up, send us an email. Hey, Jeff, I just signed up for that 375. What are you going to give me? Well, what we're going to give you is the rest of February. We're going to give you March. We're going to give you April, which is going to get you, obviously, the championship in college hoops. 2 weeks later, the Masters. We're going to give you the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in March. We're going to give you baseball. Okay. Then we're going to give you the NBA and NHL playoffs. So, yes, we're going to take you all the way through June. And the first three that sign up today, we're going to take you all the way through the All-Star break in the MLB. So we're going to give you the rest of February, March, April, May, June, and the first 10 days in July. So an opportunity second to none. I wanted to get that out there. A lot of followers from Adam Trigger, and I can't thank him enough for coming here weekly. And any questions, comments, concerns, just send me a DM at EC Sports Invest or an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. 3 o'clock, Lou Finicaro, UFC Fight Night live at Seattle. We're going to talk about a couple fights there, recap last weekend's matches, and Dana White, big announcement yesterday. Miami, we're going to get jiggy in Miami, April 13th or 14th. A couple big fights announced there. Paddy Power, Volkanovski, a bunch of great fights lined up in South Beach in the middle of April. So everyone, thank you so much. Again, reach out to us. Any questions, comments, concerns? Thanks again, as always, to Adam. It's 4 Nation night. Safe travels to Mr. Andrew McGinnis and his dad. They're flying into Boston. They will be at the game tonight, so can't wait. See everyone at 3 o'clock with Lou. Stay tuned.